Jeez.
Hello, Key Biscayne. It's Monday, June 25th, 2018, and this is the No One's Listening show, episode 115, where we talk about what's going on in Key Biscayne. I'm your host, Rafa. To my left is Bill.
Hey, Rafa. Nice to be here with you.
To his left is Manny.
Bill, can you formally introduce yourself, please? First name, last name?
Bill. Bill Durham.
Bill Durham, okay.
There
Bill
we go.
number one.
To his left is Griff.
Hey, everybody.
To his left is Bill.
Billy.
What does the E stand for?
I knew that was coming from
To
somewhere.
his left is Anna.
Hi, everyone. I'd also like to say that today marks Rafa's 35th birthday.
Oh, cheers.
Wait, 35. I had 33 in the pool. I thought you were like Jesus' age.
That's me and Johnny.
That already happened.
One third of the way to death.
Yeah, one half maybe. Right.
That's our show for this week.
Yeah, I had thought about that. I was like, yeah, but 70. Anyway, let's start how we always start. It's called Weekend Talk. Who wants to go first? Anybody do anything good this weekend?
We all did something good this weekend. Well, not all of us. 3 of us in here did. Rafa had a birthday party for himself. And it was really nice. We had a really good time. I had the day before we had lunch and watched some soccer and did a little run to Total Wine, and he was buying all the booze. So let me just tell you, there was a lot of booze at the party.
A little too much.
A little too much, but good because we have leftovers. I'm drinking it now, so it's all good. It was fun. We haven't had a party like that inside an apartment with so many friends together under the same roof in a long time. I think only you could really pull that off. So
just to set the scene,
fun.
the party was here?
No, was that? It was at Rafa's mom's house for his 35th birthday.
Because I noticed this building no longer has a front.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that had something to do
There's
with
no
the party.
furniture in
Oh my
here.
God, imagine.
Yeah, kitchen. No, we didn't do it here. We did it in a much nicer apartment. And I love I know it's very popular to have those beach parties and whatever, and I guess get it off make sure you don't have to deal with anything at your own place. But I like those tight apartment parties because everybody's in the same kind of place. They're congregating all together, like in a kitchen or something like that.
Well, you should have had it here then.
Yeah, should have had it here, bro. You're right.
We'll have that when the housewarming, it'll be the same thing. I'll invite 30 people to show up in here, and it'll be nice and cozy.
Does anyone know what the largest house on the Key is in terms of square footage?
The Caballero's old house, probably, no? Or it used to
square
be.
footage, probably not.
Oh, the Greek one?
That one's pretty big.
That one's pretty big.
I mean, I don't even know. Is that like
Billy, I mean, that would have been great. If you would have done your research, that could have been our trivia question tonight. That would have been
But the
perfect.
point is, like, how many of this apartment would fit in that house?
Oh, man. More,
40.
bro, more.
I mean, 40 and, yeah, it's 700 square feet, so.
Yeah, more.
Well, that was fun. That was a nice party. I had a nice weekend. I went paddleboarding and picked up trash, so it was something new and different for me on the weekend.
Almost as good.
Yeah, combined them both at the same time. It was nice.
I actually saw you that morning when I was going to go sell T-shirts for the 4th, right here. I almost yelled hippie, but I didn't put my window down in time.
A hippie?
It's a compliment.
All right.
Anybody else do anything this weekend?
Well, we had a meditation day at the meditation center on Sunday from 9 to 3, so it was kind of a quiet day, but very nice.
Did you guys go full 6 hours without interruption?
We took an hour off for lunch. But
Wow.
So it's really nice when you settle in for a longer period like that, yeah.
So you sort of raged at the meditation center.
Basically.
Well, I guess you could call it that, Billy. Yeah.
Did you used to own the bike store?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was at the vestry retreat for St. Christopher's Church, but today, which doesn't really count, but maybe it does. You can buzz me at any time if it doesn't. I went out to Hialeah, to the racetrack, and I got a tour from the people who own the track. Were trying to use it as a location for filming, and it was amazing. Have you guys ever been out there?
I've always wanted to go. I used to go to the track when I lived in California, and it was a lot of fun.
I tell you, there's no more thoroughbred horse racing. They have a little meeting for trotters, which they need to keep the casino open. But the place is unchanged from its 1930s.
Flamingo's still there?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
450 flamingos.
Pink flamingos, I think.
Flamingos.
Yeah.
And they told me that they actually are somehow able to make them fly around the track at the sixth race.
Come on.
Anyway, it was very cool, and I wrote some slice.
What were you scouting for?
I wasn't. They had, I mean, it's a bigger topic for another day, but Florida has an issue with our film business, which is, here's the issue. We don't have one.
I was going to say, it doesn't exist.
And why is that? It has to do with the tax incentive from the state government, which we no longer have, and you can argue that maybe we shouldn't. But there's an effort, an ongoing effort by Sandy Weiderman, the film commissioner, and other people to try to get more filming here. And to do that, a couple places have started to try to set up tours for people who might be interested in shooting there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else that looks quite like it that I've seen locally. I mean, you really can do a lot with it. So it's very cool.
Post Katrina in New Orleans, there was a tax incentive to get filming down there, and so all of a sudden, all of these movie stars were all around New Orleans, and like the Tulane kids would get involved somehow. And they would do openings at Tulane on campus. And it was really weird, but obviously New Orleans is so freaking scenic.
It's kind of a race to the bottom with film incentives. And Louisiana had a huge one for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, it's a poor state and then they couldn't fill their potholes because they were giving away their tax revenues to huge corporations to shoot their movies in Baton Rouge. So that went away, and now Atlanta is the leader in that, or Georgia is the leader in that, and they've drawn a tremendous amount of production to Atlanta. Something like 40 shows, movies are shooting there right at this moment.
So the idea is, when you shoot in California, which is, I guess, the ideal conditions because you have so much workforce and so much...
From a workforce standpoint, no question about it. The issue is building a pool of skilled labor, which is hard to do with just one show, or two shows, or a movie now and then. You really need an ongoing. Everybody knows who takes these jobs. Every lighting guy, every camera guy knows that the job that they're on right now is transient. It's going to end soon. And if they're going to buy a house or they're going to put down roots, send their kids to school, they need to know they're going to be able to get another one. So that requires kind of a critical mass of production, and that's hard to achieve with every state, with this moving target of who has the best incentive.
But the tax incentive is between now in between the states that provide more or less, but really between the studios think, should we shoot in California or should we go to this other place?
Yeah, I mean, the calculation is significant. It depends on the nature of the incentive, but I spoke to a friend who's a film director here, and he was explaining to me that the Georgia incentive is what we call both above and below the line, meaning includes directors and talent. So if you hire The Rock to star in your movie and you shoot it in Georgia, and he costs you $25 million anywhere else, but Georgia he costs you $17 million. And you as a director may say, I don't want to do that, but there's somebody at your studio who's going, well, let's take another look. Maybe you want to consider it because that money we may give you back a little more for other things that you may want.
Interesting. You, Griff?
The highlight of my weekend was I made my first sardine sandwich. That was the highlight of my weekend.
Woo!
After your birthday party, but I made a sardine sandwich. I never had one.
For a while.
I was at the supermarket and I saw like these canned sardines. And I was like, man, I got to try one of these. And I opened one up, made myself a little sardine sandwich, and it was awesome. That was the highlight of my weekend.
Did Rafa's party, was that the incentive there? Like,
possibly.
With the Hildas?
And you want to share the recipe? I mean,
it was just toast, onions, mustard and mayo, and it was great. It was
and
awesome.
Sardines.
And sardines.
That sounds
canned
nice.
Sardines.
You know what's funny is that Rafa went out of his way to tell me that Johnny has recently gotten into stuff like clams and sardines and whatnot. Mussels. So it's funny that you mentioned that because Rafa and I had a conversation about this on Thursday.
I thought that was some kind of a sex move or something like. Yeah, like Bukkake or.
Oh
something
my
like that.
lord! Whoa! Rated R.
It's a
Rated R.
family show.
No longer.
Okay. Okay. We'll go where we always go after weekend talk. Where's my instrument?
Today, I'm telling you.
It's called What Are You Listening To? And it goes like this. It's kind of like the intro to Rhapsody in Blue, if you've ever heard that.
Except it's not.
Okay.
Did you drink before the show today?
I did not. Who
Okay.
has a song?
I mean, we all have a song. Do you want to just go around the circle?
Okay, I'll go first.
There you go.
There's a band that I really like in Miami, and I've talked about them before because I've been to their shows. They're real out there. They kind of they remind me of Talking Heads, though I wouldn't say they sound just like them because that would be horrible if they sounded just like them. But they got kind of that vibe. The band's called Donzi, like the boat, and the song's called Mines. And I implore you to go check it out. They put out this little 12-inch, I don't know, like 2 months ago. And I haven't recommended it since, but I really liked it. And I was hearing it this weekend. So, Donzi Mines.
They're crazy. I really like them.
Yeah, and they're really great live.
They are awesome live.
Well, I like this group, War on Drugs.
Yeah.
A friend of mine sent me a link to them, and the song that Wes sent me was titled "A Touch of Grey." It's an old Grateful Dead tune, and just very nice, kind of easy listening stuff.
Sweet. So I'm going to keep it flowing here. Jerry Garcia, a song by maybe your doppelganger, James Taylor, Bill Durham. How sweet it is to
He's
be loved
referring to
by
Bill
you.
here.
Jerry Garcia does a beautiful version of that. So I don't know if you've heard that. So that's a shout out to Jimmy T.
Today I was listening to Funkadelic, great band, spin off of George Clinton and his other bands. And I was listening to Hit It and Quit It.
Oh, damn.
Great song.
That goes well with the sardine sandwich.
And yeah, in keeping with my tradition of kind of promoting, revisiting the 80s, I've been listening to Squeeze, which is
Yeah.
a new wave band that had one album without a bad song on it. The single's Going Steady. And then I Shazammed something, and I just remembered it for you all the other day. It was Gorillaz. Do you know that band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was the damnedest thing I'd ever heard, but it takes a lot for me to get up.
Which
on
song?
Shazam it because my phone battery lasts for about one Shazam.
They just put out a new album. You
Gorillas
think-
did?
Well, they're in the process of putting out new singles right now, so I guess it's
Cool.
They played out here at that festival, in Wynwood Festival. Didn't
3
they last
points.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
3
what-
points.
What type of music is it, Billy? I'm not familiar with.
I'm probably not the one who should characterize it. I couldn't describe it exactly.
It's hard to describe.
You mentioned Talking Heads. It seemed like it was sort of music about music. If that makes sense.
High energy.
Sort of an arty
No.
meta tone to it. But
it really depends on the song.
The
because I do
albums,
some-
too, are so, like, it depends on the album
Yeah.
because their albums vary so much, I feel like.
They have some that are more like pop songs, and they have some that are just instrumental and
Yeah.
go everywhere. But what's funny is that you gave me this album, man.
Yes. It's so
Right?
good.
Blur's a band from the 90s, from England, from London. And the lead singer, Damon Albarn, that's his name, right? Well, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Damon
You're the Blur
Albarn.
nerd here.
He's the guy who started Gorillaz.
Oh, what?
no kidding. Oh,
Yeah.
I love Blur.
I didn't know that.
So he's the guy.
Or
from-
did I?
Yeah. So he's the main driving force of Gorillaz, and then he brought a bunch of collaborators to help him, and so all the albums have different collaborators, but he's the main
Is that
guy.
why every album has its really is very
If you go back now and listen to him, you hear the influence. Like,
Sure.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
Gorillaz was cool, really cool when we were like teenagers. They came out with some cool stuff. Yeah, no. Well, just. I mean,
That was
I didn't mean that to sting
I don't
anyone.
need to come
But in like
miles from my house
2000,
to be abused.
that was about 20 years before that Squeeze album came
Yeah,
out. I think.
it was like 99, 2000 was the album that
After,
it was like
rather.
this army colored jacket situation, right? That was like their like big moment, I feel like. But I would like to listen to the new songs. Mine's Link Ray, 1971, self-titled album. The song is called Fallen Rain. I don't know where I was listening to Link Ray. I like some of his songs, not all of them, but this album is like bluesy, not rock and rolly. I guess rock and roll is, I don't know, it's bluesy. Bluesy is rock and roll. But it's really good, and the lyrics are timely.
What's the
That's
song?
all I'll say. Fallen Rain. And you guys can look up the lyrics and
Cool.
discuss amongst yourselves.
Would you call the best Squeeze album?
I think it's Singles Going Steady.
Oh, that's not
I
the
like
one I
that
would.
name.
Oh. What was the one you would have picked?
I liked Argy Bargy is like my favorite one.
Oh, yeah.
That one's a
That
nice
was the one
one.
before.
Which is the one with Tempted and Black Coffee in Bed and
That one is not Argy Bargy and not Cool for Cats. It's I can't remember the name of it.
I thought that's what you were talking
There's
about.
But that
no way
one-
finding out.
That one's a good.
I'm looking at two people.
Well, we'll let the
should examine it.
commenters, if anybody's listening, you can tell us your favorite Squeeze album, if it's the one with Tempted on it. Okay, let's move on to the news you can melt to. It's the summer. Things are going kind of slow in this town, but we got something to tell you. For the first time in 16 years, there will be a mayoral election on this island. In the past, every time the mayor's spot has been up for election in the past 16, there's only been one candidate, and the person is automatically elected. But as of Thursday, both Mike Davey and Luis de la Cruz, both council persons, Mike a former one, Luis a sitting one, are running for mayor. And I have just one question. Do we trust these guys?
Manny, why don't you answer?
No, Manny's friends with both of them.
That's why.
It's going to be so hard for him.
Yeah, I trust those guys.
Bill, do you know them?
He's off
You know
PC.
them.
Yeah, they've both been involved for a long time. I think we can't help but be grateful that people want to, volunteer their time and be committed on all these issues. So, yeah, Mike Davey and Luis, both. And how nice that we have an election.
Yeah, I think it's
two
cool.
people want to run.
So, from what I understand, they kind of talked to each other and tried to talk each other out of it, but it wasn't going to happen. So that they could get the thing. So, because they also roll in the same groups, and if you know
Yeah.
Key Biscayne politics, it's a big popularity contest. Ultimately, like people don't. The issues come up for the people who are very involved, but then ultimately it's like who you know and who you don't know, and that's who comes out and votes for you. So unless you're really bad. It kind of devolves into like, your friends are voting for you.
I don't know them.
And that's it.
I don't know them as well as you guys do, but I'll just say I've heard Mike Davies' name a lot more in my life than Luis.
So you're voting for him?
No, I'm just telling you, if you're saying it's a popularity contest.
That could cut both ways.
I don't know Luis. Hi.
Mike and his family shared a condo with me and Austin in Bimini 2 weeks ago, but I have an open mind.
Wow.
Oh.
So you're already betraying.
I think it's good. I think that's a good approach, Billy. And I just hope that it stays clean and above board. I hope it doesn't devolve into what politics.
You think it
can
could?
be? I mean, look, it's the first time in how many years?
16.
16 years. So
Does Myra have a relationship one way or the other? Or no?
She's out because
but
she's
like,
termed.
is she like, oh, here, X and X is the, here's my support.
There are a couple interesting things to think about it. First of all, the newspaper said they were not going to endorse a candidate, which seems to me irresponsible. And they're failing to perform a routine public service by the newspaper, which is to they should be uniquely positioned to evaluate the issues and endorse someone.
What's funny is that we are uniquely empowered to do that too, and we apparently aren't going to do it either.
We have time.
Your mandate is,
We have time,
is different. If you want to bring that upon yourself, you definitely have time to do it.
Yeah.
And
We have time.
I hope we'll have both candidates on the show.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Of equal time and fair play. But yeah, I think we can look forward. I really don't anticipate a particularly vicious mudslinging on the key. One thing that did occur to me just in a roundabout way, which is that there was I'm on a bunch of WhatsApp chats with a bunch of you guys and a bunch of other people, and someone was saying, complaining about Winn-Dixie, which, is a hot topic of mine.
Day-to-day
we always come full
activity.
circle, Billy.
And the person was saying, why can't we talk to town council about getting Winn-Dixie to have better produce? And I replied that, we need to be reasonable about what we expect the government to do and what we expect the market to do. So one of the things I would look forward to in the election, not only for the mayor, but also for the 3 council seats that are up, is some of the candidates to be kind of realistic in terms of explaining to people about what not only what they're going to do, but what they're not going to do. Because as you know, everybody on the Key has an issue with the thing in their backyard, or the neighbor who does this or that. And if you're not careful with our volunteer government that has a limited amount of time, you can really, really get pulled down any number of rabbit holes. So I'd love to hear from the candidates that when somebody raises their hand at the meeting and says, what about the produce at Winn-Dixie? Says, God bless, here's a couple ways you can deal with that, but that's not something we're going to be tackling.
What are the chances that you can, in a public forum, ask the candidates to speak to what they're not going to do? I mean, that would be great.
Well, if you're a reasonably experienced politician, and both these men are, the answer to that is there's no chance. There's a chance you can ask them, but there's no chance that they're really going to answer the question. But it's the more general topic of, we have our council and our mayor are people who are supposed to have other jobs and other lives, and they're not supposed to get bogged down in these issues, and sometimes they do. And so part of that is just telling us what their actual priorities are and making sure that that's not an infinite list of things.
So Bill, I mean, you've been here for what, like 75 years?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, they built the bridge. Okay, great. What's next? What do we need here on Key Biscayne? What do these guys really need to address? What are they going to be speaking to?
Manny, I used to think that there'd be a time where we get everything kind of handled, like we built the community center, and there's a lot of talk about that. And I thought we'd get to a point that was kind of smooth sailing after that, and we could just kind of chill. But it seems like there's always some kind of hot button topic and something very serious going on. I know before we went on the air, we were talking about the conversion of the library. So I think that's something people are interested in. What's the new library going to look like? How's that going to happen? Buried utilities. So there's some.
What's important to you? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, it's something that we can maybe all think about.
Safe streets, I think, is key.
Okay.
Safe streets.
I've got a good answer for your produce.
Oh, yeah.
The farmer's market.
No, I got it better. There's this guy who works at the Key Biscayne Community Foundation, and he happens to also take part in, I don't know how to call it, but he wanted to schedule a meeting with he talked to headquarters, Winn-Dixie headquarters, because everything at Winn-Dixie seems to work like very top down. That's why there's products that make no sense for this community, but they make a lot of sense for like Podunk, Florida.
Like? Do you know? I'm trying to think.
Like really, really cheap cigarettes, but not having American spirits when people on the Key buy American spirits. That's one that I noticed really fast, and I saw something the other day. I was like, this is something that they buy in Podunk, and it just doesn't sell here. But it happens. If you look around, it happens. But so this guy, he's like, I want to introduce, he works with farms in Homestead. He's like, I want to introduce a local wall into the produce section of decent produce that we are actually producing right now. And so he's trying to do something about that. I'm not sure it's the council's place to do that kind of stuff.
Well, if you want to do the Winn-Dixie Hour, just started.
We'll do that at the end of the show.
The story is I did see a sign once.
The one at the poo.
That said local Florida produce, and it was oranges. So,
Local foreign?
local Florida
Oh, Florida.
produce. They sell local honey, but it's actually not the honey.
It's Key-
that-
it's
not
Key
the honey
West.
that we make on the Key. Not the
It's
honey that
not.
Ron Herbal makes.
Yeah.
It's honey that they make down on
Key West.
I think
or
it's in Key
Largo or
West because I
something.
had a conversation with Ron about this, and he was like, "People think it's mine because it says Key,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "No, his is much better." By the way,
I think the reality is that Winn-Dixie is a bankrupt, highly leveraged company, and they're not going to spend their cash, even if they want to, on anything. So perishable local produce that is not part of their current supply chain, even if our managers here really wanted to do it, is just not something that I think they can possibly do because they're paying off their debt. But you have other options.
Hey, Billy, I just wanted to say one thing on defense of Winn-Dixie. Last year during the hurricane, I don't know if you remember, but Winn-Dixie was the last business to close, and
Yeah.
they were the first business to open.
So with you, my feelings about Winn-Dixie, my main criticism of them is focuses on the cart
The escalator.
escalator, which I think we all share that
We agree on that.
and chronic issue.
that's the main issue. That's the main
I
issue.
thought that was a joke,
I
Bill.
like to shop at Winn-Dixie. I think Luis and his people did a great job after the hurricane. I like dealing with them. I was the original witness to Dumpgate, the dog defecation story that we covered.
Yes, we did cover that extensively here.
2 weeks ago, and I am so with Winn-Dixie on that. You can't get more to my Winn-Dixie side, particularly. So I hear. I live a block and a half from Winn-Dixie, and I'm there 2 or 3 times a day.
What was the supermarket called?
Hyde Park?
Hyde Park?
Yeah.
The one where CVS is now?
Hyde Park, Pantry Pride.
Was it better than Winn-Dixie?
No.
It was when we had.
I don't remember.
It was
I
good to have
remember going there,
competition. That's for sure.
Okay.
It's weird that we had half the population, but we could support 2 supermarkets, and now we have double. And, we
And
can-
like double the gas stations too,
yeah, we
right?
had like 4 gas stations.
Yeah.
But-
Produce is your thing. You can go to the farmer's market. You can. There's a guy who
You can go off the key.
delivers on the island. You can go off the key. You can join a CSA if you want to eat kale every week.
There you go.
But
Griff.
otherwise, for everything else, I think Winn-Dixie is fine.
Okay, so back to the candidates. Another thing that you mentioned was the questions and asking them about what they wouldn't do and whatnot. I always thought a good line of questioning would be asking them and verifying, because these guys were on the council. I was thinking of this for new candidates, but how they would have voted on past things. So, like, what did they think of the dog park? Were they a person that was primarily opposed to it or not? What do they think now? To kind of get an assessment of how they would think going forward.
Yeah, but
and react-
hindsight is so, come on.
I know.
They could have at the time been like,
Well, these 2 guys
No.
can't because they've both been on the council. So you can ask.
there you go. Okay, fine.
Public
Do some
record.
research. I like that. I like that.
So ask them about what they think of past projects. You can ask them
Or
about-
do your research
Oh, yeah,
and
so-
see what they said about past projects. Not ask them.
That too.
Go into the archives at the Islander News.
Were they big on or how about that,
Go to the
that,
library.
that plan to redo Bear Cut and all that kind of stuff? Like, where were they on that? How do they still feel on that kind of stuff? How they feel about
I think that these 2 guys are probably aligned on many things, actually.
Who's doing the Fill-A-Bag project with you? Is it Mike?
No.
Okay, so never mind.
I'm doing that with Nancy and with James Duncan.
James Duncan. That's it. Okay, sorry.
And the other
Yeah.
thing I was going to say, and the Islander doesn't help with this, so we got to do it, okay? And it's going to be hard for you because they're your buddies, but we got to do it because we're the only ones. Somebody told me the best way to run for council is to not talk about anything, okay? Don't say your positions. Don't say them. Why? Because it's a popularity contest, ultimately. I remember when Theo ran against Ed Stone, who was also running at the same time, and they were polar opposites ideologically and for ideas for the village. Theo was much more of let's do bigger projects and get some ambitious things done. Ed was let's lower taxes, cut everything kind of guy. But the same people voted for both of them. The same exact people. Because they were friends with both of them. And so one of the things that I heard was in these campaigns, don't talk too much because, give those little kind of airy quotes that you can say to the Islander. Oh yeah, we want to make things better or whatever. Don't say anything concrete because it'll reveal who you truly are, and all it can do is tear you down, not lift you up.
Isn't the one time that we all got together to watch a council meeting on the TV?
Not Ed Stone, Ed London. Sorry,
yeah, there you go. Okay, good. Well, good, better now than next week. Isn't the one time we all sat together and did the research by watching the council meeting on the TV?
The watch party. That was
the
fun.
watch party that I was nominated to take the notes for that nobody ever read.
Is that
wasn't that the only time? It was the time that they were all.
They had the debate.
The debate.
Yeah.
We got to watch the debate again.
I think you can solicit on your Facebook page drinking games to play while you're watching.
Oh, we got wasted.
So when certain words are said, you have to drink.
We got drunk.
So the mayor,
At Manny's house.
the mayoral election is separate from the council member election, right? So
Yes.
if you lose the mayoral election, you're not going to be on the council either. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Moving on, or
I
no?
think if, as you say, they are, which is probably true, they are largely aligned on the issues. Then I think the second question to my point about what you won't do is just about process. How do we get I won't say that because I don't really have that complaint about the current government, but just that how do we make sure the government stays streamlined and responsive without being nannying and busybodying. It's come up in terms of the conversation about the village manager, what the precise role for the council is. That's always hard. There's always mission creep, but how we're going to make sure that the government is as nimble but continues to take the overview as opposed to micromanaging the process.
Well, a real shame that you're leaving town for so long because you won't be here to assess it with us.
That's not true. I'm here on the weekends to assess it with you.
There we go.
Distorted, but
Billy, can you make your flights back on Monday at the Red Eye on Monday night? Or there's no Red Eye that way.
Go straight from the show, you mean?
When you go off the side, they're all red eyes.
Yeah, right.
Okay, let's go to the next thing. And it's there was a real it's World Cup fever. And apparently there's not much of a fever in this room.
It's real. There's a fever.
Anna wouldn't go for a paddle the other day because Mexico was playing. Anna, Mexico, man?
And I don't even go for Mexico, but it was a nice match.
That's talking about fevers. Ruff, where'd you get this cooler that I'm sitting on?
It's Matt Freed.
Are you sure?
Fever
Because it kind of
Freeds.
looks like a cooler that I had.
Well, Matt brought it to my house.
Now
for-
that we're
for
on
the
that
party.
topic, Jimenez Zabaria, I'd like my cooler back. Thank you. She's had it for like
But
3
talking
years.
about World Cup is really exciting. Today was a great day. Great matches. Oh man, it's getting really exciting.
Big game.
I think what's fun to talk about is the community aspect of it. So like each restaurant has their own special, has their own crowd. I've gone to a few places and I think it's funny. We're not funny. It's fun to see on the Keys so many people kind of gathering. I was telling Bill this morning, I think it was with you that I had this conversation. I was on the beach yesterday and I could hear, it was during the Colombia match, and I could hear people screaming every time they scored a goal, which was 3 times, so it was a lot. But, being on an island and hearing people screaming, there's fever. It's real.
You can also tell us that the English language feed is about a half second behind the Spanish language.
It's also really boring compared to the Spanish feed.
Watching in the Starbucks.
That's
as I
funny.
watch Office Dinner, you're watching at Kibo. They're watching the Spanish language feed, and they
yell.
roar, and then a second later, the keyhole
That is so funny.
roars. So I bet on the beach, you could maybe get like a wave going.
There was something happening. That is really funny. That is really funny.
Was anybody, maybe someone out there listening, was anybody at Novecento for that
Argentina
Croatia-
loss?
For that Argentina loss? Because it must have been
Must have sucked.
tears in there. It must have been just a flood.
Friend of the show, Alvaro.
Is he Argentinian?
I was with him yesterday. No, he's Puerto Rican, but Puerto Rican Cuban. But he said he was there, and it was rough. He said he walked in, and there was the whole middle section. It was one table.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, these 10 families are like, we're all going and we're going together. And so they made one huge table.
And they have that huge projector up in there.
And
like
then the
projection,
first
it's
goal
nice,
was an error
goal, yeah.
by the goalie. The goalie tried to chip the ball over the player, and he put it right at the foot for a full volley and a goal. And And he said people were upset. They were cursing the player. He's like, the parents were going off. The kids were upset also, but the parents were really going off. So it's a rough one. They still may make it. I don't know if they're going to make it to
out,
the next
aren't
round.
they?
No, they may still make it to the next
it
round.
would take a lot, but they can still pull it off.
It sucks.
I think Uruguay is the new Argentina on Key Biscayne, actually.
Dude, I saw. Yeah.
I can't even, the gringo perspective is that, which I know everybody wants, is that
Wait, Bill. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for 2026 for the gringo perspective.
Yeah, right.
When they're actually qualified.
There are not a lot of commercials in the World Cup. You really get a lot of sporting event for your money.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you
When
do.
you watch World Cup.
And you know when it's going to end.
You do.
Kind of. I haven't figured out stoppage
Yeah,
time.
maybe 4 more minutes. Maybe.
Offline, but,
Six sometimes.
But it's amazing. And the other odd thing about it is just how quick, just look down at your phone and a goal.
Yeah, right. When you looked, right?
Even more so than other sporting events, you really can't. At least I can't see the offense building. So all I know is that if I do look away for a second, that's when something's going to happen.
Well, when Brazil lost 7-1 last time, I went to the bathroom and 2 goals were scored. It was beautiful.
So
It was horrible.
I watched the Croatia game, not at Croatia-Argentina game, not at Novecento, because I was going to cheer for Croatia. Okay.
You went to our Croatian restaurant.
I did not find a Croatian restaurant, but I went to a
Honduran restaurant
off the key, thinking, well, there won't be that many. Everybody except for Argentinians hate Argentinians, so I was figured.
So how animated were you going to be in your cheering that you felt you couldn't go to?
Well, if I went
Croatia's his number one team.
You should, because I got pretty excited. So I was like, when they scored, and they were some nice goals. So I was like, I was jumping out of my chair.
Yeah, actually, you look Croatian.
Definitely not from Spain.
And so, and then the lady came up to us and was like, maybe tone it down, right? At the end.
No, she was going for Croatia. She was also the only one, though. She was like, I'm the only one also going for
the other
Croatia.
guys that were.
There were some some Argentinians at the bar.
And we were the only ones out yelling when they would score. I was like, it was a great game. Anyway.
It's funny
World
that
Cup
we choose which matches we can actually watch or not watch at Novecento. Like, I'm Brazilian. I'm not going to watch a Brazil match there,
Where will you watch it?
At my house.
Yeah, of course.
Because the only time I went in public to watch a Brazil match was that 7-1. I'll never do it again. I had to leave. Jonathan called me right after. He goes, are you okay? I'm like, no. He's like, you want to come have a drink at the Keyhole? At the time it was Ibis, I think. And I showed up in my jersey. And I refused to take it off. I just showed up like, drinking this off.
I was in Costa Rica and Pavones that day, and it was awesome.
Awesome.
I mean, it was a great day.
Hell. It's tough.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the World Cup fever. We'll report next week a little bit on that too.
Because next week we'll have the rounds. We'll know who's moving forward. It'll be funner.
Okay, it is Monday, June 25th, 2018. It's your No One's Listening show, episode 115. Got some announcements here. The 4th of July parade. I'm very involved with that, so I'm going to announce it. It's on Wednesday, July 4th. You can still sign up to be in the parade. You can win $1,500 for homemade, best homemade. Very easy. You can even just walk through with something cool if you can figure it out. Best golf cart or best bike can also win $500 on their own. They can also win the $1,500, but they can also win $500. We made it even easier for you to win money. Get in there, do something about it. T-shirts are for sale at the Winn-Dixie on the weekends, so check that out. And I have a little announcement, which is it's not for sure yet, but it's almost 100%. I'm going to call it 85%. Okay. John Cicada is going to sing the national anthem.
Oh,
Really?
I think Bill had a reaction there.
Dude, listen. You got to wait for that to be 100% before you even mention it.
Well, I'll say it on
85
this
isn't
show.
close to 100.
Well, he's going to be in the parade. That's 100%.
That's interesting.
Yeah, on one of the floats.
Does he know how hot it is, Billy?
I actually told them exactly that. I was like, does he know how hot it is? Because he's in a thing. But he's a brand ambassador for one of the brands that's going to be in the parade. And he's a super nice guy. And he volunteered. He was like, do you want me to sing the national anthem?
What?
Yeah, so we're kind of working through it. But he's going to be in the parade. And if you remember John Cicada, he had 2 really good songs.
The national anthem of what?
Come on.
Whoever wins the World Cup. Joking, 'cause that's not the finals yet. But yeah. I have a two-part question. One is, how many years has the parade been going on?
This is the 59th.
59th. And number two, Bill, has the parade gotten better since Rafa's been president? And have you been participating and like paying attention to the parade the whole time you've lived on the Key? Has it
Bill,
been like a thing?
You were a Grand Marshal one year, weren't you?
No.
What?
Oh,
No.
Look at
Rafa.
Manny's.
Rafa,
This is my question, Bill. Is the meditation center going to have a float? One. And two, is it actually
That would be
going
cool.
to float?
Oh!
We did enter one year. You know, it's a lot of effort. I take my hat off to anybody that does a float. It's not easy.
No, it's
Don't
not.
tell them that. Everybody join in. Homemade float contest. Get in your float. It's free to sign up.
Well, the $1,500 prize, I'm sure, is a motivation. But you know, it's just a terrific kind of. Let's see, how can I say it? It's something that we've been doing here for a long time. Rafa said 59 years, so it's a tradition that we've chosen to celebrate here in this particular way. So to be part of that in some way, obviously, if you're taking a leadership role like Rafa and Anna and some of these other people, but it's it started off just for some local people that wanted to have a 4th of July parade for their kids. It started off really small, and it went around the neighborhoods. It didn't go down Crandon Boulevard.
I didn't know that.
We
What I mentioned before the show, that was my introduction to Key Biscayne.
Oh, there you go.
First thing we did in Key Biscayne, it was 111.
it was almost the first and last, is what you mentioned.
No, and we loved it. It was our introduction to the whole kind of
Neighborhood.
Elm Mayberry quality of Key Biscayne. It's sort of small town, but Latin, but 1950. All of the sort of vectors that kind of make the town special in the way it was are on display. So we'll be there.
So can I, Bill, would you say, because I would say yes to this question, would you say it's more fun to be in the parade than to watch it?
Bill, you used to be in the parade when you had your bike shop.
Various
Well,
different ways.
I've had a couple of floats in the parade, and I marched with the Chowder Chompers marching band several
Nice.
years, both with Bill Cole as director and Frank Jones as director.
What did you play?
Trombone.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't know this about you, Bill.
Yeah,
That's so
that
cool.
was a few years ago. So it's fun either way. I mean, if you're going down the parade, people are yelling to you, and you see a lot of people you know. So it's fun either way, Rafa.
I would say to anybody who's out there who maybe you're just not going to get your float together this year, come out to Fernwood and Buttonwood around 10:45.
Oh, it's
Staging.
Fun. It's fun.
to where the staging area is for all the floats, and that's where we will have our float. And hop a ride on our float, because it's such a good time. And I have ever since we started doing the floats, I have so much better a time riding down than I did being at the. You get every part of it. I feel like you get.
It
to
is
spend every
really cool,
single
and you
part of
can
it.
jump off of it and walk around anyway. 'Cause
Exactly.
there's a lot going on. I mean, not everybody has that privilege. We have a group of friends that some people like to build stuff, so they make a float. Okay, but
I'm inviting everybody out there.
Okay.
Rafa, let's
come on our
Listenerland.
float or on our
In
float. I haven't done anything this year.
Listening
Let's address the important issue here. What is the policy on water balloons this year?
Don't ask, don't tell. That's
Because
that's been a long-running policy.
ever since this single-use plastic thing got going,
Oh, you want to be conscious of the environment. Maybe
water
you don't wanna throw those
balloons
things.
they make a mess.
They
do
make a mess.
They make a mess.
Yeah, you got to find a different method of
You don't
delivery.
Throw a sheet ladder. You can't throw more than one.
Where can you get those? So you can Amazon those?
I
or-
would say
Danny, don't pretend.
your best bet are those like
Water guns.
pump
Like
rods.
My second question
You know what I'm
is
talking about?
My second question is who is the Grand
Pump
Marshal
rods,
this year?
pump rods.
Who is the Grand Marshal this year?
The Grand Marshal is Jimmy Arasso.
Great.
Yeah, he's a great guy. If you guys don't know him, he's
Just getting
been a
traveled.
longtime member of the committee, and we decided to make him the Grand Marshal.
Well, I'd like to nominate
With his wife,
Bill
Pat,
Durham
who-
for
Yes.
next year. Right now, I'd like to make that nomination right now.
Hey, is Nelson and the Donut Gallery?
I like
Did they?
They have
agree?
not. it doesn't look like they're going to participate.
So we have a
this
chance.
year, but it would be nice if they did.
They
I would
did,
really
yeah.
appreciate more participation, especially from them who have built some of the most legendary
But
floats.
they're
on the team.
protesting, right? They're protesting the water balloon ban. Still.
It's a little. I don't think that's it anymore because they submitted. They've done
that's
two.
a real thing?
Oh, they have since
They've
then?
done two since
Oh,
the
okay.
protest.
So that's
There's
over.
no such thing as a water balloon.
There was at some point. Some people got in a fight. You know, I won't say who it was,
30 days.
but some people got in a little fight, a little tissy fit,
Why-
and
what
then everybody
happened?
was like, "I'm protesting," and then way to ruin. It was kind of like when they went on strike and like ruined the league type of thing. Like they almost did that, you know,
But
to our
wait,
parade.
I think the people that are throwing the water balloons, they just wait for our float. That's what it comes down to. They really only get us.
I remember one year the guy from Chicken Kitchen went down and nobody liked him. Do you guys remember this guy? He was a real slime ball, like of a person.
But I miss Chicken Kitchen though.
And he drove in. It was right in the 2002-2003 era, and he drove this Lexus hardtop convertible. It was like nice and new. It was like one of the first hardtop convertibles. He was driving down, and he had a guy, Alex Canales, I think, who was working there, in a chicken suit, a black chicken suit,
Poor guy, oh my God.
in this heat, walking like in front of the car, and this guy who's like fat and looks like he's like the kind of guy who would have like a small, like really stubby cigar in his mouth all the time. He's going down in his Lexus, like all nice, and these guys just
Water balloon?
bombarded him with balloons right into the cab. Like,
I'd like to.
No.
I'd like to. I don't know if it's too late, but I'd like to apologize for that.
Oh, question. Does the booter have a float? Oh, because we could like TP his float. I don't know what we could do, but something bad could happen to him.
Nah, to be like, nah, you're not. This is too controversial. You can't be in it.
How many floats are you expecting?
How many? Like
Come on, let's promote this a little
50, some
50 floats.
Yeah, 50 some
55
entries.
floats.
Entries. Some are marching bands. Some are walking groups. Some are golf
And
carts.
local
Some are.
dignitaries.
Yeah, we
Some
got.
of our superstar local politicians.
Some of them are gonna. I know Mike Davey has submitted a thing to be in it. He will check him out. He'll be in it.
Actually, I heard him and Lucha are going to be doing a sword fight, gladiator style.
That would be pretty awesome.
That would be a great
time
float.
and, time and place. I mean,
Oh, this is
on the 4th of July.
It's 4th
No,
of
people are
July,
asking
11 a.m.
actually. People are asking right now
11
on the
a.m.
feed.
the
What
parade
time? It's
starts?
at 11 o'clock.
11 a.m.
59 years, same time,
Oh,
same
no.
place, but we get the same questions. July 4th, Wednesday, 11 a.m. is the time that it starts. You might want to be there a little earlier. If you're in the parade, you got to get there a little earlier. Check the website, kb4.org.
I'd like to integrate a section of this show, or a segment of this show, which is key hacks. Key hacks. 4th of July key hack today. These are little tips that help you kind of get around.
I
the
like
key.
it.
The place to set up is the little grove by the bathrooms on the south end of the Village Green. There's a little
tell
tree
people.
grove section. I'm telling you right now, no one's listening. There's like 6 people listening. Set up there early. That's
The night
always the best
before.
spot. I'm not going to be here this year for the 4th, so my spot will be open. Check out the little grove. Put your golf cart there. Maybe the night before. It's okay
Set
to do
up the
it the
time.
night before, and you'll stay cool in the shade.
I actually have a key hack. I prepared.
Oh,
Not to shame anybody, but
Manny.
My key hack is that you can drink the water on Key Biscayne from your tap. You do not need to buy water. You do not need to filter your water. I got a notice from the department, the water and sewer department, asking me if I wanted a water quality report, and I said yes.
ooh.
And I got it, and it's amazing. Our water is terrific. Now, when I grew up in New York City, we drank water from the tap. New York City water is
The best
special.
water in the world.
Best water in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of argument about what the reason for that is, whether it's particular mineral content or the way the pipes are. But our water from the tap is healthy. It's refreshing. and every time you drink it, you're not using a piece of plastic.
You know what, Billy? I have to disagree.
Oh no!
Last
Okay,
week,
I'm handing him the water quality.
last week, my wife.
Oh, Jonathan turned it away.
And I turned it back because my wife actually, she filled up a cup and she's like, "What's going on with their water? Because it's like all like opaque. It's kind of like it's kind of whitish."
Okay.
Is that why I saw her with two massive
Hold on,
spring
let me go
water
back.
things?
Now it's because of the chlorine in the water. What's wrong? What's going on with the water?
Wait, this was like months ago now.
No, this was like last week.
Okay, I'll say two things.
And you know what?
They
We could do a test right here.
They did that thing
A couple months ago.
a couple months ago where
There's
they
a water problem locally.
Billy's talking about Key Biscayne water, not Key Colony water.
Yeah. So one thing I was going to
Because
say.
I agree with Gato, and I buy my water sometimes too. Because he called
I
me
was
water.
going to say
doesn't-
something
yeah.
to this, and then I think it really catches people off guard is the fact that the water might be affected by the pipes in your building.
Because it's 1979.
You get what I'm
right?
saying?
My building.
The pipes in your building.
Right
So,
now, for those
but-
of you that can't see, Griff just pulled water out of 301 Sunrise. And it's crystal clear.
So wait, but here's the thing.
I'm with you.
All
I'm your
have-
neighbor. I'm with you.
All you
I'm
have
with
to
you.
do is let it run for like 30 seconds, and then it'll come out clear. It's just that first like stuff that's still backed up all the way to the part that's not moving. Yeah.
I think you had something. You have to write
Oh,
it.
Bill's gotta go.
We're
Bill.
losing Bill, but I hope we can have him back another day so he could tell us stories. I would
Thank you
love
very
to have
much.
you back,
Thank you very
Bill.
much, Bill, for
Thank
coming.
you.
We have
Thanks
so
for
much
joining.
to learn from you. I feel
there's
like.
still more to talk, but
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks
Bill.
so much for
Chris
coming.
is sending Bill off
Thank
with
you
a
so
glass
much,
of Key
seriously.
Biscayne's finest.
Thank you, Bill.
Nice to meet you. And put that. And by the way, I know it's not necessarily in keeping with meditation center, but if you could put that air pump that you had in the bicycle shop, that would be a good sales tool by you.
Bye. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
But no joke.
Oh, because he's got a meditation right now.
Yes, at 8 p.m. So, Bill, yes, at every night during the week, Bill does a sitting at 8 p.m. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m., Tuesday, Thursday at 7 a.m. And sometimes that Sunday that he said he had like a 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
So what kind of meditation is it?
He's-
Well,
oh.
well,
I wish we had asked him when he
yeah.
was here.
Right, but he's not here. But you're promoting,
Sure.
Bill's meditation hour.
just go check it out. Go check
It's
it
not
out.
Buddhist meditation, but it's nice. We could ask him when he's here.
So let's get back to this water thing. I know there's a lot of people who feel that way. Some other people have told me I just like the taste of my Fiji water. You know, I would say let it run. 30 seconds or so. Use a Brita if you have to.
I mean, the Brit is the dumbest, and I'm
good.
I'm completely guilty of that. I mean, whose life has ever been saved by a Brita filter?
It's all about flavor.
Brita people go to our Facebook page and
So the other thing I would say is that on Amazon for $100 you can get an under the sink filter too. That'll last you I think a year. A charcoal filter.
It's not about live or die. It's about the taste, man. Because I'm not going to die off of the Key Biscayne water. No, but I've had this conversation with Kato before. I'm just convinced that
Kato's my wife, everybody.
the sink and then my filter in my fridge. I've never changed it, and I've been there for 4 years, and God knows how long the fridge has been there before then. But it tastes better when I buy that large and in charge spring water Zephyr Hills, and I put it in my fridge.
Keep calling these
but
pipes are old.
What do we fill in a bag for if we're going to do that all day?
Man, that big one, I never use plastic. By the way, and you can see
I'm
this,
just saying.
I never use a plastic bottle when I leave the house. I'm buying one massive thing. to
I'm just
face.
asking, like, when you have it right there and then you still buy the water.
let's do it for
what I'm feeling fancy.
my return to appearance. If you're so kind to invite me, let's do a water tasting
Oh,
down.
Let's do it. I like that.
from different buildings, from houses.
I like that.
And we can,
I like that.
hold off on the other fluids. Water tasting is done, and we can rank it.
I'm in pH levels. Here we go.
I like that. I like that a lot. I wonder if the houses taste different than the buildings. They have to.
Okay. I really don't have anything. Oh, I did have
What?
one last thing to talk about. Yeah, we have a lot of things, but one last thing, and it's that the Islander is going to make some changes. Did you guys see this? They're going to make some big changes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
good.
it's about format and stuff like that. And I did not
see this.
I didn't think it's
They
so
announced
interesting.
it
They just
for
announced
next week.
that it's going to happen.
For next week, so we'll see.
But what I really want to talk about is how the publisher, Justo Rey, have you guys seen this guy?
No.
You guys have it? Okay. Because I was going to say,
News.
I was going to say he's everywhere right now. He did his own "Where in the World is the Islander News"? Okay?
No, he didn't.
Last week.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
That is for the residents of Key Biscayne.
Justo Rey?
His name is Justo Rey.
He's the guy from Indiana?
No, he's the guy hired by the guys from Indiana.
And
Does he live on the Key?
We had another publisher for a little
Yes.
while. And
At an interim publisher.
And listen,
He lives in Miami somewhere.
I'm just going to tell Justo Rey and anybody else now in the news who's listening, no matter how bad you get, I will never cancel my subscription. So that threat doesn't ever come from me. And I'm excited by these improvements. Honestly, I'm more
I am
like
too.
the editor. I think it's great. I think that I'm teasing, but the thing he's in the editorial in this week's paper mentions a bunch of other things they're doing. They're all things that we've talked about here and that I'm in favor of. So if they're putting more time, money, and effort, I think
we need to get him on the show. We need to get him on the show.
He does begin his editorial with the dreaded Merriam-Webster defines.
Yes,
I saw that.
I saw that. I died.
Indicates a little
I saw that.
misunderstanding of who the audience is, but
wait, this is all.
That's-
That's a very hometown newspaper type of thing.
Is it? What does change mean? Change means,
I mean-
according to the
I mean,
dictionary.
like cheesy writing. Yeah, come on.
That is cheesy.
Hey, Anna, I heard they're hiring.
they need more.
Thanks, Johnny.
They need more editorial content, and there are lots of places.
They do.
Billy, have you ever written into the Islander?
No.
You're a writer.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's not a knock. It's true. I mean, because like you said, we've talked about some of these things. We're starting to see some change, and I think
I'm prepared to suggest a couple low-cost sources of content, which I think they're already onto, which is we have a really
Rat Radio?
great historical society here, which I'm sure could put out an interesting article every couple of weeks about something that with great photos about something on the Key that we'd all like to know about. We have the Nature Center in Crandon Park that could tell us a little bit about some of our natural history of the Key, which I think a lot of people don't know about and would be interested in. There's the famous police blotter, which
I don't know why they took that away.
Real estate transfers, and I've heard from people, oh no, people don't want that. I don't think it's that. I think it's just that requires a little bit of reporting and a little bit of editorial effort, and also it's a page in the newspaper that doesn't go out to advertising, and that's why we're not getting it.
They say they're going to do a little bit more of like community get to know your neighbor situation. What was it? The phone book that had that? It had like a page on like Key Biscayne families?
The Lions Club.
Maybe it was the
book that they've done.
That's what it is. There you go. That's what it is.
I recommend that. That's an excellent local.
They have maybe like 5 to 10
Profiles or
profiles of Key Biscayners, original Key Biscayners, and it's really interesting. And I feel like the Islander could really, I don't know, profit from that.
Key Biscayne is full of history. We got the oldest building in Florida, pretty much, in South Florida. And it's a lighthouse. It's the oldest building in all of South Florida.
Merriam-Webster defines the lighthouses.
The oldest building.
We definitely have a lot of history here.
There was this, the curator for for MoMA PS1 was here once, and he put on Instagram him at the lighthouse, and I freaked out. Do you remember? I'm like, he's in the Key. It's kind of funny. The lighthouse is.
I mean, the thing that probably, I don't know if did you guys talk about Nipplegate when it happened?
Yes.
We did talk about Nipplegate.
I missed that one.
And how absurd.
For the listeners, the Nipplegate is Dr. Kelly's column.
Which I said was a paid ad.
That's right.
It's essentially.
I'm sure he paid for it.
Guys, he talks about,
Sorry.
for the poor listeners who don't even know what we're talking about, he talks about plastic surgery tips, and he has this thing where
Ideal nipple size.
it comes in the form of somebody asking a question, like if they sent a letter to the newspaper asking about cosmetic surgery tips, and then Dr. Kelly answers it. Now, I mean, I'm pretty sure the letters are bullshit, but maybe
It just
they're
comes
real.
across as
Really
self-promotion,
somebody asked them
which
that?
The problem with this is it appears to be editorial content by a disinterested medical expert, and plastic surgeons have have a vested interest in creating new problems that they can fix, which are different from health problems.
Like having a nipple size that maybe your husband doesn't appreciate.
There's a lot of
because
nipples
that's what
out
they
here,
basically
and
said.
Do you remember the idyllic dimensions for a nipple?
Three
Nope.
quarters.
Did you read the article or not? Do you remember?
3/4 of an inch.
Didn't you see
I
the
don't remember.
pictures?
Yeah, there were images on top of all
I think
of
it was
this.
8 millimeters.
8 by 8, 8 millimeters,
8
high,
by 8
millimeter
measure your nips.
diameter.
Talking about nipples, did you guys scare away? Did you guys scare away the lady that spoke about nice things for kids and the way they should deal with life?
Oh, she has not been having. Has she had it? What's her name?
column?
Mexican.
She hasn't had her column.
Blonde lady.
You guys scared her away?
We never spoke ill of her.
I wrote a letter to the paper trashing
Saying-
both those columns.
It was awesome. By letter, he means 2 sentences.
Talking about
Right.
Nipple cosmetic surgery.
Editorial,
It's
though.
clearly an advertisement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, and nobody here wanted to agree with me, and I said it was clearly.
I think it's a very
advertisement.
it's a very it's very Key Biscayne to have that column in the local
Is
newspaper.
it, man? I don't know.
In the words
there's
of Al
different.
Crespo, it's Miami bitches. In the words of Al Crespo.
I think that's lame. I think there's so much more we could talk about, and we do here at least a little bit. I mean, there's so many interesting people that have been here for so long. We could talk about so many things and learn from them to learn how to deal with whatever's coming up. And
there are like mundane health issues, suntan lotion, bug spray.
Sure.
that
yes,
People would like an actual medical opinion on.
we could talk about those things, and we don't need to talk about
There's
nipple
4
sizes.
different doctors you can interview, and you write a little piece about what kind of sunblock you use, and that's useful.
And if your mole changes colors, if you need to check it out, whatever.
That sounds like it would cost them a lot more money than what they're doing right now.
So the changes to the Islander are good.
I would say
We'll see it. It's next week.
That's good.
We'll see next week. We'll see.
I just think it's funny how
I want to see design changes.
He came on board like a month ago, and he is talking like he's been here his whole life. That's
He
what I think
does
is
kind of say that.
He's been commenting on some of my posts as well. On
exactly.
Photoback, which is good.
He's going to be in the
I
parade,
think
like everything.
They must be changing the design of the logo because are ready to justify it before people complain. They put a little image of like every time. I think it's changed 16 times since the inception of the Islander News, and they did a little timeline of what the logo looked like. Yeah. Yeah. So
read it because Rafa's apartment hasn't paid his electric bill.
So I'm excited to see what.
This is the 12th new masthead.
Oh, 12, not 16. Sorry.
So that's cool information.
It is. I'm excited to see it. I wonder what it's going to look like.
And I think he got a trial by fire with the manager selection issue, and so.
Oh yeah. They probably gave him a lot of hell for that. Well, guess what? We're going to endorse somebody on this show, so bring it on.
Now that the maid, you can endorse the manager.
Okay, we're going to try you to vote.
Let's go to calendar, Rafa. What do we got?
the 4th of July parade next week.
We got a birthday today.
Oh!
And I know we can hear you.
Oh, it's my birthday, and Anna just brought out a little cake.
No, not a little cake. I brought out a pecan pie. Our loyal listeners will know what that joke's about.
Anna, did you take the price tag off the pecan pie? All right.
You told me to again.
So let me get a picture of this, please.
Happy birthday, Rafa.
Happy birthday. We'll wait. So for our new listeners, we always promote the pecan pie ladies. What is it?
Key Biscayne Women's Club.
Yeah. This is a big step up from the lemon that we had for Manny a couple of years back. What was it?
Was it
It was like a half lemon with a candle stuck in it.
We did do
remember?
that one time. Not on his
This is a
50th,
big
but on the,
step
like
up.
the, I think
Yeah,
the 49th, it was just a lemon with a candle
is a
in it.
big
Or that was
step
mine.
up,
No,
Rob.
that was my birthday, like a 33.
Oh, it was your birthday with the lemon?
So, are you guys going to sing, or are you guys going to...
Yes, we'll sing for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rafa. Happy birthday to you. You're 35. Woo! Oh, yeah.
Thank you, guys. That was totally unexpected. I did not
was
see that
awesome.
coming. Thank you, Anna.
Yes. And
Only Anna.
And panel.
Only
and
Anna.
Rat Radio.
Thank you.
Rat Radio.
She
Rat
showed up with
Radio
this little cake,
is
and I was like, "What is she
sponsored-
going to do with this?"
Fresh Mammoth Georgia pecans.
Wait till you turn 50, Rafa.
Then you get just the sauce. Oh. Can we go back there one day?
I have something else for the calendar.
Okay.
On June 30th, Saturday, June 30th, there's an organization called 4Ocean. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Nope.
No, actually, no.
Really cool organization. They have fleets of boats and mobilize huge groups of people to pick up trash, marine trash, and they're collaborating with the state park. So on June 30th, 4Ocean will be there. I don't know if you've seen these bracelets that I wear.
Cool.
For every
I was going to ask
bracelet
you about that.
Yeah, you buy these
I was going to
bracelets.
say, what is
Cool.
Manny has a diamond silver Tiffany tennis bracelet he's showing right now.
Billy's been
Oh,
drinking
yeah.
that 301 water, man. So you buy a bracelet, and they pick
Yeah.
up a pound of trash or whatever. That's not really why I buy the bracelets, but it's a cool organization. They are collaborating with the state park, 4Ocean. They're going to do
That's
a
cool.
lot of the water. On the mangrove side, they're going to have kayaks and their boats and stuff out there. So come on out on June 30th. I
How's
won't be
that
here,
guy
but
doing? The guy that you mentioned that was picking up the stuff at, was it Virginia Q?
oh my God, that guy
Is he like your friend?
the ultimate weirdo. I haven't met him yet, but
Okay.
he is. He's picked up over, I think, like 4,000
We need to have him
pounds
on
of
the
trash.
show.
Yeah, we're gonna
You
have him on
guys
the show.
became friends,
I'll have
right?
him on the show. Yeah, we're friends on
On social media.
Social media, but
we should have him on here.
Yeah, we should. He's out there. I mean, he's out there like almost. I don't think the guy works. I think he just all
Picks
he
up
does is go
trash.
out there and picks up trash. Yeah,
Good
so.
for him.
And that's it. There's
I've
a little
noticed-
sunlight
I've
left,
noticed-
man. I like to get outside, and I got Chico sitting outside in the car, so I'm going to
poor
take him out
puppy.
there. Yeah.
I've noticed
He's a trooper.
the restaurants are changing to paper straws. Did we talk about this last time? We talked about this.
We could save it for next week, or you want to
Yeah,
get on
save
that
it.
now? Let's do it.
And all I'd say is that there's a
They're voting on-
because this is become a sort of an eco.
It's a real movement going on.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say an eco fad, possibly an eco trend.
Okay.
Nationwide, there's a full-length piece in the Atlantic about the history of the straw.
Oh.
Which is actually, I thought was surprisingly interesting. But I'd say the issue of whether you have a paper straw or a plastic straw is a difference. But apropos sort of our whole overview of recycling and our usage patterns, do you need a straw at all?
That's what I've
No,
thought about
you
that.
don't. As for a smoothie, it's nice.
Do you know why?
For a smoothie, it's
some
nice.
people, why the straw? I've always thought this too.
Lipstick.
Lipstick
It's
was
women.
a big
It's
one.
a women thing.
Dunk the nose. That's what you got to do. Dunk the nose.
Are you saying that you shouldn't use a straw for cocaine?
Goes back to the 19th century when it had mostly to do with a significant public health issue. When people used to drink out of a single cup, a straw was, and a lot of diseases were carried in water, made a
there we
giant
go.
difference. But right now, I don't know that we need a straw and a plastic top on our cup.
I was
No.
at a restaurant in Boston 2 weeks or a week and a half ago, and I looked around and I realized a restaurant bar, really in like a Mexican tequila bar, and restaurant tequila bar, and there wasn't a single straw in the restaurant.
Well,
There wasn't a single straw.
I don't understand why it's not more common. Because you get a beer, they'll never put a straw in it. You know,
Because
But
beer
you-
doesn't taste good with a straw.
I'm just saying, but they'll give you a glass of water, they'll put a straw.
I
right?
agree.
Yeah.
I don't like straws either. I agree. I just
Why can't they ask
They're-
you, hey, do you want a straw? Or you
They
ask
should-
them.
well,
It
they-
switches
okay, so,
the default
like
to you
5
asking
years
them.
ago, they stopped serving bread everywhere, and you only get it if you ask for it.
That's
Maybe
money.
maybe that'll become a thing.
And now
with
they're
straw.
starting to ask if you need a
If you
bag
want-
here
or
in
if you
Key
need a
Biscayne,
bag, or
actually.
if you need
So
a
that's
straw.
good.
I mean, I just hope that, we can wait for next time, but this question of my recycling, the volume of my recycling from my house is larger than the volume of my trash. And so superficially, that makes me feel great. I feel like I'm not using.
Billy, how many beers are you drinking, buddy?
But that's not how many Amazon packages are we getting. That's not
Yeah.
the reality. The reality is that I'm just using and consuming lots of all that stuff that is recycled. It's not environmentally neutral. It has to
Yeah.
be. It has a huge carbon footprint.
Wait, I just had a great idea. Instead of buying a 12-pack every
Get a keg.
3 days, I'm just going to get a keg and put it in my house.
That's it.
No more single-use cans or bottles.
Now you have an excuse to get that kegerator.
But the point, I mean, that's the thing. Are we going to say, okay, we ban plastic straws, which is excellent. I'm all excited that we're doing
All for
that. And, we all feel great about ourselves, and that's the end of it. I think it's more about,
No, we need to keep.
driving a used car instead of a Tesla, and that's a harder sell here on the field.
How about the stupid plastic bags at Winn-Dixie?
Wait, but I will say that there's a couple things about plastic bags and paper that. So obviously we don't want to throw this stuff away into like the
Use it in your little
not dispose
tiny
of it
bathroom
correctly
trash,
is what
at
everybody's
least.
thinking about. But apparently the impact of actually producing plastic bags, at least, versus paper is a lot lower to make the actual
production
bag.
of it?
So you burn a lot more fossil fuel making the paper bag.
Making a paper bag.
Yeah.
I've seen the data on that.
And you can't reuse you're not going to reuse the paper bag
I also say,
unless it's a really good one.
Yeah, the Whole Foods ones are good.
Plastic bags
And
are
the Golden
not
Hog.
recyclable and gum up recycling
Yeah.
machinery. So you may get it if you bag your recyclables. You're pretty much undoing all of the.
I always wonder
Really?
about that. If you're throwing stuff, we had an argument about this the other day. I said, "Hey, I'm throwing all this stuff in my plastic garbage bag. It's going in the trash." And you're like, "Someone sifts through it." No one fucking sifts
Oh yeah,
through
here
it.
in the key, our
in my
recycling-
plastic garbage bag.
no. If it's going to the garbage, it's going to the garbage. If it's going to the recycling, here we don't separate our recyclables. It's paper, plastic, cans, all in the same bin.
Yeah, but you have to. But not all papers create. I mean, a greasy pizza box, recyclable or not?
No.
No.
And they probably have plastic on it at some extent. To some extent.
Starbucks cup, recyclable or not?
No.
No, because it's got a plastic interior liner that's impermeable.
Do you know the numbers? Because I know they have numbers on here, and I know the red Solo
using
cup.
plastic cups right
the
now,
red
so.
Solo cup isn't recyclable, so never buy it again. But there are cups that are recyclable,
This one.
and it depends on the number. I think number 5 means
This is
no
number
go.
6.
Why do you have those cups? Why don't you have your own little cup when you come here?
We always use glass. You have a bunch of plastic cups.
And
in
I
my
broke a glass in the kitchen.
We
like
did break a glass
half an
before
hour
starting the
earlier.
show. Yes, we did start with that.
But I'm asking, do you guys know, or
No.
not? What number can you recycle and what number
Drink
you
wine
can't?
from the bottle.
If you live in my street, you've recently had a sticker placed on top of your blue, not green, recycling can telling you what you can and can't recycle, and it's a wealth of information. I encourage everybody to study it. But yeah, by and large, those things that you think are recyclable, steel cans, cardboard, is recyclable. The few things that are not, that you often think are plastic bags, which gum up the machinery, and slightly greasy or sort of cardboard that's impermeable to water and be treated in some way or another that has a plastic thing that apparently creates a giant headache.
Gotcha.
Since this is a show about Key Biscayne, I will say one thing. I go often to the Golden Hog, and they use those paper bags. I kept the paper bags for about 3 or 4 years. I kept the paper bags that didn't get dirty. You saw I took a picture of it.
Anna is a hoarder, everybody.
I am a
She
hoarder.
has
No, but in a good way.
She has a little cabinet.
I had a
full of
cabinet
bags.
full of the Golden Hog paper bag. Guess what? I went there. I spoke to George, and I was like, I have maybe at least more than 100,
50?
more than 100 of the paper bags. Can I bring them back to you? Will you reuse them? And he said yes, and that people do that, and it's a thing. And I took all of those bags back to him, and they're reusing them. And
When I forget my
I
bag
hope
at-
he is.
when
You
I
better
forget-
be.
I'm sure if they're not dirty.
They're not dirty. No, the ones that have grease and da-da-da, no.
When I forget my bag at Winn-Dixie, and I'm doing my self checkout, or even where somebody's working, underneath where they're working, where they're down there below, there are paper bags at Winn-Dixie. You can go
What?
ahead and grab your own paper bag.
What?
Yeah. You can choose paper
What?
instead of plastic at Winn-Dixie.
But I do self-checkout and everything.
You didn't know
That's a
that?
good key hack.
Yeah,
I didn't know
they're there.
that.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah.
But do you at the self-checkout or no?
No, I from the self checkout, I walk over to the person checkout.
That's right.
I'm
I've
like,
seen that.
excuse me,
Yes,
pardon
yes,
me.
yes.
I reach below their feet. I'm not getting wise, not getting fresh,
Not
and I
getting
pull
frisky.
a bag. Yeah,
I like
pull a bag
that.
out of there. Yeah.
That's a good key hack. I forget about that.
Man, that's 3 key hacks tonight.
But wait, you get another plastic bag?
No, it's paper.
bag.
It's like Whole Foods
Yeah,
style.
paper bag.
Sorry,
Big
I missed
paper
Old
bag.
school. Yeah.
Like I said, those have a large carbon footprint, just so you know. Like if you reuse your regular plastic bag one time, it's got less of a carbon footprint.
I use
than
it
a
for the
paper bag.
garbage.
Really?
Everybody
Yeah.
does, right?
Well, I reuse my paper bags
I can
I reuse my
tell
paper
you.
bags too for
I should
garbage.
pull up that study because
for bacon grease. They're really good.
I use them all the time for
Garbage?
moving stuff around the key and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I have a whole pile in my closet.
All right, I'm gonna go outside and watch
Okay.
the sunset.
Okay. I guess that's a good time to call it then.
So if you got like a really good like sardine sandwich recipe, put it on the Facebook. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about sandwiches.
We'll do a sandwich taste test along with that water taste test for Johnny.
Billy, good luck in Los Angeles.
Thank you. My heart will stay here and keep us game. If you ever get the whole call-in system going, I'll be joining you.
All right. Maybe once we get this
Thanks
Rafa,
for
happy
coming out.
birthday to you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
35.
Ralph.
Ralph.
Somebody,
I
and Nancy was
appreciate
asking
it.
me how old you were, and I said about 33.
It's about there.
So these guys are younger than you. Griff too.
Yeah.
Johnny and I,
Yeah. And
By
then I are like
cheers.
the younger ones.
yeah. We hang with a bunch of old fogies.
Bobby's my age.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
about it.
Gannon's our age.
Yeah. Okay, that's the show. Tune in next week. Subscribe on iTunes. We got the links there on the Facebook page, on the ratradio.net. You can get it right delivered to your phone every week. You don't have to do absolutely anything. It just comes in when you open up your iTunes. And if you have an Android phone, there's options for that too. Come check us out next week. On Monday, we'll be here again. And then we're going to take a little hiatus because I'll be out of town and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm out of town next week actually, and
Well,
then the
then-
week after
Yeah,
as
so
well.
will I.
So.
So, so we'll
Johnny
be
and
back
I
at the
will.
end of
Johnny and
July.
I will be broadcasting live from the Jizzy
Next week. Next week we'll be here, though. So tune in for that. Go to the parade. We'll remind you again next week. That's it. Everybody, 1, 2, 3.
Good night.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye. Let's do a 2-man show.